You love it, man. You love it. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's good? It's your boy AD.
Yo, Truefunktion, what is up?
Yeah, it's RJ. What's up, people?
And this is another episode of The Forbidden Juice where we spill the juice on all things forbidden. Do you dare take a sip?
Yes, sir.
Let's get into it. So, we are starting with our new segment, The Freshest Farquhar, where we just basically have to air somebody out for being stupid. Alright, so something or someone has been stupid and we've witnessed it and we have to speak on it. We have to give it some attention. So, Mr. Raphael, sir, if you could, please.
Mr. Joseph, actually.
Mr. Joseph.
Oh,
then,
damn.
If you are, I'm sorry.
What's up, Mr. Raphael?
Government name.
Put some respect on his name, man. You gotta put some respect on his name.
Government name.
Alright, cool. But who is your freshest Farquhar for this week, sir?
So, freshest Farquhar of the week, of the day, of the time. Anyway, yeah. It's this girl on Twitter. She set her arse on fire. Nice. Can we hear it, please?
Yeah, one second. I get it. But
Can we hear it in the studio, please?
Well, basically,
Studio.
yeah, because I've seen the video he's talking about, right? And this girl is a black girl. That's what burns me the most. No pun intended.
Bro, the sound is hilarious when I heard the video.
Stupid
Play the
girl.
sound. The scream is
Right,
mad.
So, oh wait, what the hell's going on? Hold on a sec.
Is your volume down?
Wait, now.
Yeah, replay that scream, bro.
All right, one more time. Reload.
Jurassic Park. I need to take that and make a beat, but yeah, guys.
That's deep, bro. I need samples someone screaming, bro. What the Nah, I have no sympathy for people that put themselves on fire. Like, you see her getting the fire put on her ass, but she did
And she put it herself.
She did herself.
That's terrible.
Like those people who put fire on. You ever seen the other ones? Like that black boy that put fire on his whole body and he was just.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've not seen that. That sounds mad.
What are you doing?
Yeah. And it, bro, it's low-key a little racial, but I'm just like, man, most black people don't do that until I see black people doing that.
And you're like, oh. Yeah, because they did tell me about this before we went on, and I was like, immediately they said it's not to be racist, but I thought that just sounds like something that a European or American white person would do. And then they said it was a black girl. I was like, huh?
He's like, so for that one, my sister cracked the whip on your back. Foolish. Okay.
Do you know what? Yeah, it reminds me of
Cheers.
girl, let your ass on fire.
Hey.
Someone should overdub that with that. Let your ass on fire. She proper dancing.
And she was dancing to
She
get
was
the
really
flames
dancing.
on.
When she was dancing, she was like,
And then her friend was chasing her afterwards, trying to put her ass out. Just
it's
both of them.
hilarious.
My freshest Farquhar is gonna go out to a little bit of things that I saw on Black Twitter. So this black guy, for some reason, he decided to claim that all Arabic women are black in his books. There is no ifs, no buts, no maybes. Arabic women are black. A fair-skinned sister then came over and said, that's not quite it, chief. And my guy then replied, are you even black? I don't know what sort of selective color blindness my guy has, but it was so obvious that this is a lady who has at least a little bit of pigmentation in her skin that is of the African variety. So the fact that he is out here claiming that Arabic women are black, but you can't even see his own peoples.
Oh, it was a black dude that put this comment.
Yeah, it's a black guy that put the code. Yeah, he can't even recognize his own people as black, and he's
Fresh
out
as
here.
fuck.
Bro, he was claiming the like he was like, yo, this woman, Arabic women are black, and it's like, but what about the people who are
fresh as fuck.
You know what it is, man? Like all these guys who basically set our own people back, like especially our women. Oh man, they're all.
Look, if you know what, if you're not interested, don't be interested, but don't come and spout nonsense.
Man,
that doesn't help.
Don't belittle. Like if you're a black guy, this is a topic for another time, right? If you're a black guy who is not into black girls, first of all, I think you're crazy. But second of all, if that's the case, then that's the case. What you cannot do, though, is you cannot belittle your own people for the benefit of others. You can't be saying, oh yeah, I like white girls because black girls are dirty. Like, bro, are you mad? Like,
I don't know why I'm laughing, but that's part.
Bro, but that's the kind of thing they say. You know what I mean? Like, they will put down black girls, and it's like, why are you putting them down? If you have a preference, you have a preference, but don't put down your own people.
Also,
bro.
it's mad to say that because like, even guys who have fetishes for other races won't ever be like, oh yeah, white women are ugly. Because the truth is, if you can say black women are ugly, who brought you into this world? If you're African or Caribbean and your mother is African or Caribbean, you're saying that those women are ugly. You're essentially saying that your mother is ugly, your sister is ugly, and ultimately
You are ugly.
Yeah, man.
So fresh as fuck, quack, 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 quack.
Yeah, man, you're a fresh fakwa, and so for that, crack the whip on your back. Alright, so
All right, so mine is gonna be a little less racially motivated. No, I'm joking. Mine is for
it's fully racially motivated.
Yeah, mine is for cyclists, and I know already saying this, drivers are gonna hate me. I am a
Bicycle.
cyclist.
Bicycle.
I know you're a driver already. Is gonna be fighting like, you're gonna kill you, you wanker on a bike. So my freshest farquhar
get out of the fucking way.
is everyone who's a pedestrian that is not aware of how they deal with the road. Particularly pedestrians on phones. The reason why I say this is pedestrians on phones, or pedestrians in general, believe they are the law, they are the be-all and end-all, and when they cross the road, the sky must stop, Jesus must come again, and the rivers must run high with gold. Those people are idiots, because when I hit you with my bike, don't look at me confused because you stepped out in the middle of the road thinking that time would stop. So my freshest farquhar is the fact that I was cycling in Shaftesbury Avenue, and an old man stepped out from between cars where I couldn't possibly see him, because I will take blame if I mess up. I'm one of those cyclists. I'm honest. I've done some bad
So
stuff.
you ran him over? You ran him over?
I saw him, but because I've got quick reflexes, I slammed my brakes, but I still hit him, but not fast enough to damage him. And he had a walker as well. He had sticks.
Oh, okay.
He had
That's not
walking
funny.
sticks.
That's not funny. I take that back.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
Funny.
Yeah, we all laughing now, right? I made the levels peak there, so.
But yeah, that's gonna be fun editing later. Cheers, bro.
But yeah, I hit him, but because of the kind of person I am, I was concerned about. I was like, "Yo, are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, sorry, it's my fault." But I left feeling very peeved because it's happened to me multiple times, and I'm just like, just take a bit of time before you cross the road. So
Yeah.
that's my freshest farquhar.
Yeah. And so for the freshest Farquhar, Old Man Jenkins, crack the whip on your back. Okay, so quickly before we get started on this, I want to say that for the people who are watching us on YouTube at the moment, anyone listening on SoundCloud, go over to the YouTube if you want to peep this stuff. But at the moment, we are wearing some drip from our boy, Truefunktion. So this is from his brand Creative Native. All right, they are African inspired, as you can see. Right, some Afrocentric
Might as well
styles.
just need to stand up a little bit, like stand.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. We'll quickly stand up. So as you can see, guys,
When I move, you move just like that. When I move, you move just like that. Move, you move just like that. Hey, yo, hey, DJ, bring that back. How you ain't gonna fuck, bitch? I got damn reason with VIP. All right.
But anyway, getting our inner ludicrous out. So as you can see, they're Afrocentric styles. All right, they're really, really nice, fashionable. They are really comfortable to wear, and they are actually pretty well priced. If you were to get these sorts of designs elsewhere, I promise you're looking at like 50, 60, 70, 80 quid for some of these designs and such. But these ones are way cheaper than that. So go over to Creative Native on an app called Depop. That is DEPOP, Depop. And if you search Creative Natives over there, you will be able to find Truefunction's clothing line there. There's a range of clothes that are like these. A lot of these are also one of a kinds. So this one in particular that I'm wearing right now, I actually bought it off him.
Thank you.
Cannot get this one.
Thank you very much.
But there are other ones out there that, you know, are very, very similar to this. They are one of a kind. So once you've got it, you've got that exclusive drip. And a lot of these also come from the motherland as well. So they are authentic clothes as well. But yo, go check out Creative Native on Depop and go support your boy. Support black-owned business, or you're racist. Anyway, we're going on to the main topic for today's discussion. So the discussion topic today is, do kids deserve to get beaten? Are we being too soft on our kids in this day and age? Or are we being too protective of children these days? Now, I think we should go to you, Tope, because you have read a decent amount of this, so you're coming with educated insight into it.
So I'll come from it from the cultural point of view. I think from an African point of view, bring it. Break that thing over there. Come, bring it. I'm going to beat you with it. That is normal, commonplace in Africa.
Yep.
In some places in Asia, it's normal. The culture is normal. But I guess for all of us, obviously speaking from a UK point of view and the diaspora born here, it's a big no-no.
It's illegal.
It is, isn't it? It's almost, yeah. It's actually illegal.
It's illegal, yeah. It's illegal to be
Is it actually illegal?
It's illegal.
Like, they'll take you to jail for that shit, bro.
It's
Nah,
illegal.
I really want to check this, you know. I actually want to see if it's actually illegal. Anyway,
Bruv,
we can check that out.
Because they'll come under like child
If I
abuse
get
and that
hit,
sort of thing. Yeah.
I can call social services.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But the actual act of smacking, I really want to clarify. If you smack
I
your
think
kids, is
there's a
that
limit to
illegal?
it. I think there's a limit to it, but ultimately, yeah, you can still get arrested for this.
Snap. So it's only if the child cries wolf on it.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Yeah. But,
Alright.
Cover the
the
wounds
thing
of
is, though,
Towel to
these
powder.
days, especially, you know what I mean? Like, schools will look.
Yeah.
And
Oh, dude.
if they see a bruise on you that wasn't there yesterday, like, they'll question.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
so
And-
true. So other adults meddle a little bit.
Yeah,
In
100.
some
Like, I remember one time,
One time for the one time.
I basically
One
got
time,
really,
one
really
time.
angry about something I'm not going to go into when I was a teenager, but I got really, really angry at something, right? And then I like punched a tree repeatedly until like the skin came off of my fist.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I just bandaged it up however I could, whatever and stuff like that. I went into school the next day with my hand just obviously all mangled and fucked up and shit like that. And then the teacher pulled me to the side and was like, yo, is everything all right at home? And so I'm like, yeah, no, I just got into argument with XYZ. And they're like, oh, do we need to call anybody? I'm like, no, it's really not that deep. Like it was literally all me. But it's like schools are paying attention to that sort of stuff. And I was a teenager at this time. I was like 15, 16 at the time. You know what I mean? I'm not a young kid.
No,
you know
no.
what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even then, they were still paying attention to that sort of stuff. So it's like schools will always be like protective of kids, which isn't bad.
Which
but
is not bad, yeah. It's just learning the line because, you know,
Yeah.
if anyone, I guess for any younger viewers who might be watching this, but there was a time, if you didn't know this, corporal punishment. Was it corporal or capital? Not capital.
corporal.
Corporal punishment.
The
where
death penalty?
No,
That's
that's in
capital
America.
punishment.
That's in
I'm
America, yeah.
chatting
Capital.
shit.
No, they had it in the UK as well, but that was way long ago.
Okay,
Anyway.
yeah. So in the UK,
Off with his head.
teachers were able to use the cane to smack or spank you if you misbehave in class.
Yes.
That obviously had some problems because
10 lashes. to his
Europeans don't know how to control themselves when it comes to abuse. Now I'm checking.
If you're Russian and you fuck up your kids
it's
in a
like,
boxing ring with your
bring
kid.
the vodka bottle and smash on your head, yes.
Bjork, you have been very
That's
naughty.
hella stereotype.
You have been very naughty boy.
You've been hella naughty boy.
High
Mixing American and Russian.
High
You've
punch.
been hella naughty boy. bring these sticks and this vodka, and I'm going to hit you. Yes, no boy. Okay, come, smack, bash.
High punch.
That's so
High
bad.
punch.
That is so
We're
bad.
stereotyping from our Eastern European people.
Now
and we
go,
know that's
now
not
go
like
to
that.
room
Big
and
up.
drink vodka.
Big up, rap, yeah, because we don't want to get don't get thrown in the van and
Big up
drag
to the
them.
Russian people, by the way.
But
we love
yeah.
them.
Anyway, moving on and digressing away from that. Basically, I think the whole idea behind it. Sorry, messing with my glasses.
I'm sipping.
Sip. It's weird. It's a very weird thing because in UK society, just looking at the culture of the UK, not just not African culture, but just culture of the UK, probably it's not helpful because the culture, in terms of beating your kids, comes from an emotional place
Yeah.
rather than a place of discipline and logic that
Yeah.
if I do this, this will stop this kid behaving a certain way. Whereas some kids beat their kids out of frustration.
Yeah. That's a
And
big trend.
in this country where we're very individualistic and we're very into ourselves as people and emotions, especially in this sensitive era, when people upset you, it's less, most people's reaction. I mean, look at Twitter as example, just on the social media platforms.
Yep.
People are more likely to respond in a very reactionary response, like trigger reactions and emotional response.
Yep.
And a lot of new parents, when they get frustrated by their kids, their first thing is to, even if you don't hit them, like shouting at them and like, no, you don't do this. You don't necessarily need to shout. But because it's coming from an emotional place of frustration and anger rather than, no,
Yeah.
this is wrong.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk. And I'm talking UK culture. What you end up is having abuse because there are kids that are getting beaten. And it's mostly because their parents are frustrated with them and their kids won't act the way they want them to.
Yeah.
So in that light, no. Now, if I bring culture back in, it's interesting to say, and I'll make a quick thing before I pass it on to you. It's interesting to note, and I'll just say this, for example, going back to the UK culture and maybe even American culture. These kids that don't get beaten, by the way, end up doing the maddest things.
Boy.
And even some of them that have gotten the beats, most likely because it became abuse, do the maddest things. End up going in, killing the maddest people. Now, this isn't for everyone, but you just got to look at the majority of the facts, like some of these kids. Some of these Ted Bundys, not all of them, but some of these Ted Bundys, some of them didn't get beats. They feel they are above the law. They feel they're God. They feel they can do whatever they like because they didn't get the discipline. Pain is a very interesting way in taming the flesh.
Yeah. It's primal. It's a primal instinct. You know what I mean? Like when someone overpowers you, you quickly learn what the pecking order is, and that's what beatings appeal to. They appeal to that primal nature and understanding of like, okay, if I get fucked up by this thing, it's not the thing to mess with.
Yeah. Or if I do this, this is the response. This is the consequence.
So therefore, don't do X, Y, Z.
So even when you grow up and you realize you're not going to get beaten, you realize, because of that experience, your brain tells you, don't do that because these are the consequences. Okay, you're not getting beaten anymore, but these are the consequences. Now, going back to African culture very quickly, it's widely accepted that disciplining your kids with the rod or your hand is a good way to steer them from doing foolishness. That's a cultural thing. And I think it's allowed a lot of us to succeed in society. Especially in like some racial parts where you have to keep yourself. You can't just act anyway. So I think beatings in general, at the moment, ending my sort of point on it, is not a bad thing if you couple it with a good sit down and talk. But I think culturally, for us Africans, it's not a bad thing. It's just managing that fine line. That's all.
Cool. Raf, from your point of view, particularly culture Caribbean as well, because he said African culture. So Caribbean wise as well, how does it stack up as well?
It's the same. It's the same, and like I've been hit with the belt. I've been slapped on the wrist. I feel like even when you're
Why you
young,
gotta hit me with the belt?
like the slaps on the wrist, like wasn't hard, but just knowing that I was in trouble, I would still cry, and that would still discipline me in a sense. But I totally agree with what Toppy said about sometimes it's an emotional response that they're hitting the children, which is completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? Even though obviously some of us do get disciplined. Me personally, I do kind of feel like you can discipline people without violence. There's loads of other stuff that you can do, even like incorporating what people, exercises and stuff like that. When they make you hold your hand in the air.
Hands up, close your eyes. Wicked. That is a wicked punishment.
That's building core strength, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Children, 7-year-old children with hench arms like, I lift lifting their hands like, do you know what I do at home when I'm bad? I lift my hands and keep it up in the air for 8 hours. And now I've got quads the size of Kilimanjaro.
I have abs.
I said quads and I literally pointed to my
That's
biceps.
how you know man don't go
My quads are huge, guys. Look at them.
Look at my quads.
I literally have skinny biceps, but yeah.
So I personally feel like you can definitely discipline kids without actually hitting them. There's loads of different ways, many different ways you can discipline them, and they can, it could be effective. But I'm not totally against also hitting your children. I'm not totally against that. But like, come on, like a little tap on the wrist, or none of this belts and picking choose your weapon.
Why you gotta hit me with the belt?
The belt.
Why you gotta hit me with
slipper.
the belt? I never died. Why you gotta hit me with the belt? Why you gotta hit me with the belt? I never died. Why you gotta hit me with the belt? Why you gotta hit me with the belt? I never died. I never died. I never died.
You say you never die.
Yeah. You know what? Shout out. The reason why I said that is Stephen Joe. If anyone knows about Stephen Joe, check out Stephen Joe. Hilarious. Every girl I've shown this to has absolutely hated him. Stephen Joe was a guy on YouTube, very famous in America, who went around showing videos of his dad beating him. He was one of those African people or African American people. I think his dad was Haitian, and I think he's from Africa, but he purposely did what none of us would do, which is he would deliberately upset his dad, so his dad would beat him. One of the funniest ones one of the videos that introduced me to him was he was drinking milk from the carton, orange juice from the carton, and his dad would be like, Steven, no, why? And he was like, Daddy, why? Why? I just want to drink juice. And his dad get like a baby car seat and hit him with it, bro. It's the maddest thing, bro. It's maddest. And you're seeing him getting properly beat on camera. Yeah. And there's something very funny about it because all of us, especially if you're from African or Caribbean culture, if you've had cousins or brothers and sisters who've gotten in trouble and you've seen them getting beaten, you've just enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, your ass is getting beat. You acted up. And then they're like, why did you do this as well? Why did you tell your cousins? And then you get licked and you're like, and you're like, oh, peak.
Oh, man.
But your view on it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, man. Oh, wait, no.
I'm kind of finished, but like, little side note, like, would you guys like discipline how would you guys discipline your children? Would you guys hit them?
Wait,
wait, did you say you're waiting? I'm waiting to have a child.
I'm being absolutely serious.
I'm throwing in boxing gloves, 12 rounds. All right. Let's go.
Quick disclaimer. Pick up the gloves, son.
Come on, boy.
No, daddy. I said pick it up. I will bitch you.
I'm going to teach you how to box, little nigga. Go on.
All right.
Dodge. Anyone who's seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged? Where Piccolo telling Gohan to dodge. Dodge!
All right, so I say I'm waiting, being real, because I know a lot of ladies don't like hearing this as well. They're like, no,
this could be your husband.
Yeah, so disclaimer, I'm waiting, but only if the child messes up. If the child is one of them children where talking works, I will more than gladly go that way. But I needed it. Yeah. So if my child needs it, bruv, I will put on the gi, the Ryu headband, put on the gloves, make sure my foot is hella ashy. All the neighbors will hear us. So yeah, I'm waiting, but only if the child needs it.
Yeah. Just to quickly say what my stance on it is. Long story short, I am an advocate of beating your child, but it has to be done first off as a last resort, and it has to be done within reason. A lot, like you say, a lot of parents are beating their kids out of anger. Another thing as well is that kids are beating parents are beating their kids for first-time offenses, which is very, very bad. You need to be disciplining your child when they know better and it is the very last option. So for example, you are not allowed to bring toys to school. Okay, don't bring your toys to school. They done it the first time. Hey, bro, this is the rule. You don't bring toys to school. The next time they bring a toy to school, listen, I'm taking away all your toys. You're not allowed to bring toys to school until you learn your lesson. Okay, cool. Boom, they learn their lesson. They then bring their toy to school again. Dude, what's wrong with you? You know what? Not only am I taking your toys away from you, but now you're grounded. So now your toys are gone and you're not watching TV as well. So you've got nothing to do. Read your books, right? And then if they take their toy to school again, this is the fourth time they've done it now. Bro, you should know better. All right, 10 on the wrist. You know what I mean? Like, you should know better. Stop taking your toy to school. That's the kind of beating that I personally advocate, because that makes sense. You are a repeat offender. You should know better by now. And I've tried
like some
everything
Welcome
else.
to prison.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I've tried everything else. It also depends on the severity, because I say toys, for example, but like even that one is a bit too much. It needs to be something like if you continue this, you're going to turn into a terrible human being. Yeah. Like, taking your toy to school, bruv, you're a dumb little kid. You just want to play your toy at school. I understand that.
But those are like, I won't lie to you. I'm sorry to cut you off. But then even with those small things, because I always get told this, the small things that you do, with what you do with the small, you will do with the big. Okay. So sometimes even with those small things, you do need to nip them in the bud. Yeah, because if even if they don't display any other behavior and you're like, all right, that's nothing, they may take those for the bigger things and be like, all right, you know. So like you said, it depends, but continue.
But you know, it's like the big things that are worth the beating. It's like, okay, you're bullying. I did not raise my kid to be a bully. You're getting, bro, you want to beat up people? I'll show you what a beating is. You know what I mean? And then you do it like that. But every time you apply a beating, it has to be done with the right mindset and knowing what the purpose of the beating is, which is to deter. Okay, it's to deter and to mitigate. You do not want to fuck up your kid. That's not the purpose of a beating. You're not meant to go out there actively trying to hurt your kid. It should be one of the most horrific things you ever do to beat your kid. It should hurt you to beat your kid. It should. You know what I mean? Because that's you reincarnated in another form. You understand? Like it should hurt you to give them that beating, but you have to do it because it's out of love, it's out of necessity, and it is because they have now forced your hand, and that is the last resort. That's how I got disciplined as a kid. As a result, my beatings were far and few between. I had hardly any beatings growing up. Like I really can't think of many that I went through.
I got my hands full.
However, I've come out better for the
You can
experience.
watch Power Rangers.
Like, Mom, no. It's muffin time. Shut up. Sit down. Muffin where? Where are you muffin? You better muff yourself into your books.
The only thing I got to muff is your face with my fist. You are foolish.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's the way I see it. So when it comes to my own children, I will be open to beating them. But boy, I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. But it will be the last thing I do.
Do you reckon it's because of the word we use? Because when I think about the parents, right? My mom and stuff, they use the word discipline. We use the word beatings. Maybe it's to do with the stigmatism of the word.
I guess.
Because when you hear beating, when you hear someone got beaten, you know that's wrong.
Black
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They got messed up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
There was
like,
a chase, there was a run, there was sniffling, and there was the one where they tell you, stop crying.
Yeah. But when you hear like, oh, man, them got beaten.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, in your mind, you're like, they must have got stomped out, like blood conscious and stuff like that.
I mean, but what you use the word discipline?
No, I'm not saying I'm using the word discipline, but if you think about the words that our parents might have used, discipline or misbehaving, smack. When you hear smack, it doesn't sound as bad as like
smack down.
You got smacked.
Did my parents say I'll smack you or I'll slap you?
Slap's fine, but even slap doesn't sound, because a slap can be anything from like a dirty backhand to a slap on the wrist, which is nothing. Whereas when you hear I'm going to beat you, you're like, oh Lord, I am going to, and I've heard that as well. I am going to beat you, and you're
Bro,
like,
that one right there.
Yeah.
You know, but you know what it is though. When you hear I'm going to beat you, you know one, what's coming, and two, you know that you fucked up. And fam, I don't know about you, man, but I've got vivid memories of being told,
dude, yeah,
I'm going to beat you. I got home and I was on my best behavior, hoping that it quelled the meeting. And
dude.
sometimes it did, and sometimes it didn't. And sometimes I'll be on my best behavior and I escaped the licking for that day. And then other times I'm on my best behavior when I'm back home. I finished all my homework, daddy. You're still getting beaten. Go get me the cane.
All right, quick one. Which was the worst beatings you guys have gotten? What was the most iconic or like vivid memory have you gotten from being beaten?
Okay. Okay. There was one time where I had to get beat, and I think it was like, however old I was getting like 5 lashes or something for each year of my age or something.
Damn.
And I think I was like 14 or something at the time.
Wow.
So like I was getting geared up for I didn't get all of them. Like I think I got to like 30, and then I'm like, and then my mom's like, go away.
Go away.
Like,
I'm sick of your face.
Before it becomes a problem, innit? But you know what it is, like
you were like, before I kill
Nah, my mom's been sick with the beats. My dad, who was the one I had to worry about, because he let his temper get ahead of him. So he'd beat you for 10 and then he'd forget he forgot his count.
Oh wow.
So
5? What? Where are we at 5? 1, 2,
beat, and then he was getting angry, and because he's angry, he then forgets what number he's on, so he might as well just restart the count or whatever. I don't know what's going through his head, but he would just lose count of what he's doing. So 10 turns into 15, which turns into 17, which turns into go to bed.
Turns into go to bed.
But then I remember like when I got this beating, I couldn't take them all on one hand, so I had to switch hands.
Oh, the one on the hand.
Yeah. So
was it with the wooden spoon?
No, this is the interesting one. This is where my parents, I low-key rate them for this, but they're also crazy for this one. You see the balloon holders you get at McDonald's?
Oh!
Bro.
I picked that. I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about.
I've been hit with people. We used to fight with those.
There's a whole... Because you used to play with them and you used to... hit, when you swish them through the air, they make that.
Yeah.
So, oh my god.
So that's what I got beat up. That's what me and
I've
my
been hit by one of those, but I forgot about them.
So I got those on the hand, didn't it? And just to, and I want people to understand, yeah, those things, pain is timeless, because there was one time. There was one time I found one of them as an adult. I think I was 18 or 19. I think I was 18 at the time, I want to say, right? Or 17. I want to say 17 or 18. I was definitely still living at home before uni at this point. And I found one of these balloon holders. So then I picked one up and I took it back home. And I was like, hey, mom, remember these? Yeah. I'm like, mom, give me one of these now. Let's see if it still hurts. She was like, are you sure? I'm like, oh my God, man. She's like, what? You sure? I'm like, ma, go on, give me one. Crack! The way I put my hand down, I put it between my legs, and my eyes started watering. And bro, straight away, yeah, I went upstairs and I was furious at my mum. I was like, how could you do that? You beat me. And bro, it was like a flashback in my head where all the beatings just came back in one. And I was so mad. I was like, how could you hurt me like this? This is crazy. And I had to remind myself, bro, you asked for this. But yo, that shit hurt to this
Can
day.
I say something? That's your body remember. That's what I'm saying. Them
That
beatings,
is flashback.
those beatings will make your body remember because you're like, damn.
It works.
Mine was different though. When I got those beatings, okay, so here was my little situation. So for anyone from the African, especially I guess West Africa communities, I'm not sure about East and South and North. They probably do it as well.
Wow.
Yo,
Shut up.
Sorry.
So Leslie's probably buzzing up in the background. We have one of our guests here today who's giving us some coaching earlier. So anyway,
He's gonna make us famous.
so what happened was I did something naughty, and we have something that we do in Nigeria and other West African countries, which is hands up, close your eyes. For any of you that don't know what that is, if you're listening to audio, just imagine standing against the wall, right? Your eyes are closed and you put your arms up straight in the air and you just stand there. That's all it is. Seems simple enough. But with time, your arms get heavy. The whole rule about this punishment is you're not allowed to bend your arms. Your arms cannot slack at all. They must stand straight in the air and you must stay however long they put you there for. So one day, I was told, hands up, close your eyes. And for anyone watching the visuals, this is me. Eyes closed. You can't see my eyes closed because I'm wearing shades, but my eyes were closed. So this is me at 7 years old or 8 years old or something, or 9 years old. I can't remember.
Yay, fun.
But I was definitely under 10. I know, yay, fun, happy adventure time. So I'm standing there with my hands up, all right? With my arms in the air, with my arms in the air.
Cheer.
Anyway, I know it's a tune. Anyway, so, okay, moving with the story. So, out of nowhere, this evil, I can only consider it evil because what came after me was terrible afterwards. Something said in my mind, bruv, you don't have to deal with this. You don't have to deal with this. That was your little... That was your
little friends, your little European Caucasian friends.
Yeah, it was in my mind. You don't have to deal with this. Bruv, you can speak to social services. Stand up to them. You don't have to take this punishment no more.
I remember.
So what happened is I turned around, I put my arms down. Now I had an auntie that was living with us at the time with me and my mum. I put my arms down and I looked at them indignantly. I was like, no. And oh my God, these girls work together like a WWE tag team wrestling team. The way my auntie just got out of the chair, yeah. My mum was out of the chair and said, you and who? Who bond up? Back. All you heard is back. Parry, counter, back, boop, back. My auntie went to the kitchen to get wooden spoon, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm already crying. I've already got those beats in. I try and run out the house, yeah. Went up my 3 steps here to get to the door that goes out to the house here. My mum was beating me and said, bah, you are in my house. If you want to, when African parents get angry, sentences don't finish. They don't finish. If you GCSEs, A+, we want to go to Tesco. So anyway, my mum's beating me. Wooden spoon comes in and enters. Tag team, round 1, weapon, bap. Getting hit. I tried to get out the door. My mum goes, where you think you're going? Where you think you're going? Now, I try and run into my room. Now, if you live in any African household, yeah, unless they're very democratic in the household, and they're very open, yeah. There's no such thing as having your own lock on your door. I'm sorry. Yeah, so here was me trying to shut the door at whatever it was under 10 years old, yeah. The way my mom went, bah, kicked the door down like SWAT team. Said, come in, whose house? How you? Put me me near the wall, all you heard was tears couldn't even come out.
Well, that was.
Your body's just shivering. It's like, if anyone was to hear it, it'd sound like, oh, do you have a cold? Are you outside the cold? And that was it for the rest of the night.
We should dribble it. You know when we dribble and it comes all the way down. It's like just get those dribbles. Yeah.
No, I had it.
It's that bottom lip.
Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't dribble. She beat the spit out of me.
Oh shit.
There was no spit. There was no saliva to smear. So I just stood there for the rest of the time, and I was just shivering from the experience. Hands up, yeah, like them chihuahuas that they shave and they're naked. I was just there, and it was, oh yeah, go to bed. She said, "Do you want something to eat?" I was like, "No." Bro, she beat the hunger out of me.
Oh my
you know what's funny, yeah? I swear, African parents are the only parents that will beat your ass and still want to feed you after because they love you. I swear. You will get beat, and then while you're crying and you're there wiping snuff from your face, do you want jollof rice?
Yeah,
You
no.
want rice? Are you hungry?
I wasn't even hungry, man. She beat the hunger out of me. I just are you hungry? No. I go to bed. Okay.
Even if the thing is, yeah, you might even be hungry, but you're scared.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's-
no.
Are you hungry? No.
Didn't want to catch a
Okay,
case
go
if
to
I didn't
bed.
eat the food as well. You know.
Yeah,
It's done, man. But yeah, that was my beans, Raf.
Fam, nah, my story is dry, but one time when, I can't remember how old I was. Do you remember my old house where the walkway is just outside? There's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a little area where you're not supposed to play there, but we was
Yeah, but you
I was
play.
playing there. So I was basically learning how to ride a bike for the first time.
Dope.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I had like what are those extra wheels called?
Training wheels.
Stabilizer wheels.
Yeah,
Oh, you stabilize, but you're training.
Where they describe.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't know. I was riding and I went into the wall, and I got beaten for that.
That's out of order.
Why?
You can't even ride the bike properly. Back.
Stupid boy, you're meant to know how to ride by now. Nonsense.
I won't be lie. I think I did that more than once. Like, that's why I got fed up, man.
But did you learn to ride the bike better than that night? You
Yeah,
learned
obviously,
quickly,
I was
didn't you?
probably scared. Yeah, obviously, I had to. You know what I mean? I don't know why, man.
Raf could hit corners on his bike that people couldn't because his mum beat him to perfection.
I want to ride
hilarious.
my bicycle.
I want to ride my bike.
How can you beat someone for crashing? Does that make sense, bro?
That's like the police saying, "Sir, did you just crash your Volvo into the wall? Yeah, you're under arrest." What?
Whoa.
And bleeding. Sorry, sir.
Days, man. People, you get beaten up for the stupidest reasons sometimes.
Yeah, but that's what I think is not fair.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And that's where parents then need to exercise restraint and control, because at the end of the day, like I said, you can't be fucking up these kids for the sake of fucking up these kids. It needs to be for like a legitimate reason. And like I said, my metric will be like, you should have known better. So if I, as a parent, have taught you this, and you know, and that's the thing as well, it needs to be like, I can't assume that you should know anything. I'm teaching you everything you need to know. You understand? So it's just got to be one of them ones where I start doing a mental inventory of what I have and haven't taught you. And if I haven't taught you it, I'm gonna teach you it. And and this is the thing, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt because I might have just forgotten that I told you something one time. So I'm gonna tell you until I know I've told you. And then when I know I've told you, the counter begins. And when the counter has begun and gotten to a certain level, then after that, bro, nigga pull up.
Actually, I do have a mad question to ask.
Yes.
Do you think, because it's very interesting, I just thought of something as you guys were talking.
Yes.
Us as the Africans in the Caribbean versus our European counterparts, a lot of them not getting beatings. Do you think, it's a question. Do you think, even though the beatings we say have helped us,
Yeah.
do you think it's made us less free to try out stuff than our counterparts are? Because they had been given the freedom to do whatever they like and they haven't been punished as much. I tend to notice that white people are free to try stuff. And I'm not sure if it correlates to the discipline, but I'm just wondering if it does. Do you see what I'm saying? Because us as a people are more likely to assess something first before we jump into it. I'm not saying there's not spontaneous black people. We've got our African American cousins are crazy as hell. But I take that back because I don't want Black Twitter to come after me. You guys are crazy.
Black Twitter.
Yeah,
Man,
you
bring
guys
it,
are-
man. We here for Black Twitter.
No
We're
way.
here for you.
we're here for you. But anyway,
Come on now.
that being said, with some of the freedom they have, I mean, like some of these kids will be like, fuck off, mom, but they can easily say fuck off to their boss. Whereas we, even if our boss deserved it, we wouldn't even think twice about it. So I wonder if there's I won't say a positive aspect, but just an aspect of it where if you didn't receive those beatings, would you be more freer as a person in the people that you deal with. That's just what.
So you mean in basically being able to like speak your mind and all that sort of whatever.
Yeah, and being more free because I think people do speak our mind. We're speaking our mind, but because of the discipline. You know how to censor. One thing I will say about discipline is most of the people from African households and Caribbean households know how to self-censorship more than our European counterparts. Yes. Hella, a lot.
I don't mean to be racist, but
yeah,
that sort of like thing.
But neither. I mean, like, no disrespect. This sounds like probably whoever watched this video be like, that sounds like. But I couldn't go around and say,
juice, this is what we do.
Yeah. But I couldn't go around and say, look at you, you pasty face. That's just a problem. Do you see what I'm saying?
Fam, do you know what our new word is colonizer? I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. One of my guys like uses it.
Bro, look, listen, any white people listening, I'm not even sorry, bro. Colonizer is the new word for you guys. Like that, I've got because you know what it is. For the longest, look, alright, we're getting off topic for a little bit, but the fact that we have been called the N-word for how many hundreds of years, and white people ain't had no equivalent, and colonizer is like the nearest thing I've seen.
And it kind of does hurt them as well.
My white friend hates it.
Yeah,
they do.
That's the intended effect.
They really do. You can be like, you honky, you're cracking. I do like Jacob's biscuits, and honky sounds like monkey.
They don't care about honky, they don't care about crack, about colonizer. You know what I mean? Especially when you keep at it like, stop it, colonizer. Stop it, colonizer. I need you to stop, colonizer. You know what I mean? No, I'm not listening to you, colonizer. It's like, they get irritated by it, and that's the
do you know what? Actually,
that's the one.
Step ahead, even though we're digressing, we're literally meant to be talking about beating kids and we went into racism. But
I mean, beatings came from somewhere.
More than colonizer, racist. Racist really does upset.
Bro, do you know what's crazy? White people these days, I'm just giving, bro, this is what the forbidden juice is about. Let's go. Let me take a little sip.
You know, we do need to get back on top of it. Yeah, sip it.
Look, white people.
I don't hear you making that sound when you say
Yeah.
Girl,
you know what I mean? White people in particular, because you know what I mean. This is what I've noticed. These are my own experiences, okay? But I've noticed that white people are way more offended by being called racist than actually being racist. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're more offended by the fact that you have called them out on their racism. Like, for example, do you remember that Liam Neeson interview where he went out and said that
I was looking for a black
friend, I was looking for a black guy, a black fucker to kill, and it's like, bro. That is racist. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's more, he would be more offended by, and he was so like, oh, I'm not racist. No, you were racist at that time. You know what I mean? Like, call it for what it is. You were racist. It's that simple. Yeah. Don't be offended by the fact that they call you racist. Be offended by the fact that you had that thought. You understand? And a lot of people are out here that are offended by that.
We might have to save that for another. Do you know why I say that? Do you know why I say that? Because I have my views on it. I think what he went through, whilst it may come across racist, is a normal experience. Do you know why I say that? I'll give you a quick thing. Anyway, let me tell you why. Do you know what I tell you why? Because if what he experienced is his friend being killed by a black person, right?
Raped. His friend got raped.
Oh, rape. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, my apologies. The lady that was raped by a black person. His first thing was a black person that did it. Equally, for us, it's trauma that you experience. It's trauma for his friend that he's experienced, and it's caused him anger. Equally, when we see the injustice of white people against black people, you're very quick to be like, man. I mean, let's be honest about it. Because half the conversations we're talking about, even though some of it has its truth, when we see someone like a police cop putting a black man on the floor, or a woman, and body slamming them, immediately you're already on edge around your average white person.
I wouldn't say that though. I would say, at least speaking from me personally, it's more against police. It's not even white
police. But would you even, all right, if we won't say police, but white police, right?
Yes,
exactly. Yes. So the race element plays a part, because even when Eric Garner died, it was not Eric Garner. There was another guy, a homeless African guy. He was shot by a black cop. But still, when we come to the injustice that's faced by black people, we're more like, and even though it's still, I'll say this, that again, it's steeped in truth, but immediately you're already wary of white cops. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Same like when you experience my new, what do you call it? subtle racism in the UK, you're more likely to expect it.
Covert racism.
Yeah, or covert racism. You're more likely to expect it from your European British counterparts than you would from your Asian people. Even though when we get it, we're like, why would you do that? Because they're racist towards you as well, and everyone's racist towards everyone. But we're still more willing to communicate with our Asian brothers and sisters until they open their mouth and say something stupid or give us a mad treatment. But again, do you see what I'm saying? It's that trauma that maybe it comes from slavery or whatever, or the circumstances in real life that make you go, well, a person from this race has done this. This isn't the first time. Maybe for Liam Neeson it was, but the immediate reaction is, someone like this person. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, and it is racism for him to say that. I was like, why would you even think that? It was one black person. Do you know what I'm saying? But I understand that. Now, what went wrong, I think, and some people say I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying, look at the circumstance. He's an old white dude now, right? Even some of our old black dudes.
It happened a while back, though.
It did happen a while back, so I guess we should leave it. But old white dude, I know my grandma said some crazy things to me about other cultures and races that I'm just like, yo. Now, if I put her on air, immediately people are like, oh, woman's ignorant, part of the older generation, people like her should die. They're valid to say what they want to say, but these people have their experiences. Liam Neeson's an old dude, but I won't lie to you, before we go back to our whole beating kids, he did sound dope talking about the story, because it's Liam Neeson's voice. He was like, I went out with a Kush, and I was looking for the next black man to fight, and I had my Taken line ready. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I don't have money, but what I have is a particular set of skills. It doesn't sound like Liam Neeson at all.
It does not.
Sound like some Eddie
stuck with it as well. You were
I keep it. Yo, people give me props, man. I need an acting job.
You see the same way you buoyed me off for the last segment where I was like, sweet or salty.
Oh yes, a comma, right?
You're getting the same.
I'm sorry. All right, I take it on the chin.
But yeah, long story short, with these kids, man. Ultimately, I think we're all in agreement that essentially, when it comes to beating the kids, it needs to be done from like a right place. Now, don't get it twisted. All of us do understand that there are people out there that do abuse kids.
Yes.
That do misuse the
regardless of culture. We hear in Africa, black, Asia, doesn't matter.
Asian, whatever it is, they go overboard, right? So we do acknowledge that does exist. And so are we protecting our kids too much? Not necessarily, because there are people out there that basically just don't know how to do it. However, I really do think that people need to essentially just let parents be parents and not be so soft, because like
it's difficult because it depends on the child. Yeah. Do you know what? Let me ask you guys a question and before I guess we're around. I don't know what the time is saying.
That's 3 minutes left.
All right, cool. Very quickly. Do you remember those girls that were caught twerking? And their dad got the cable and whipped the head out of them. It went viral. What was your thoughts on that? Because for me, that was a bit much.
Yeah, it was much.
It was much. However, I'm not even mad at it. Honestly.
I'm not, because I understand where he came from, but when they were screaming, because there's a point where when the child is screaming, there's a certain level of pain that when you hear a scream from it, you're like, whoa. And that shook me because I don't remember screaming like that for nobody. So that was when I was like, wow. Because he lashed them and you saw them jumping twice. All right, cool, 3. But he kept going. And then I was like, oh, all right, that's a bit much, man.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a level to it. But I mean, the ultimate act of what it was, like, I'm not mad at that.
All right, cool.
Because it's and you gotta understand as well, like us as fathers, that's our little princesses, and they're out here doing that sort of stuff at such a young age as well. Like, you want to make sure that they understand that is not okay.
There must be another way to discipline them.
But that's true, yeah. I mean, would you agree that would have been a different way to sit down and talk to them and say, is this the kind of woman you want to be?
But then, see, this is the problem with the internet. We don't know what has been said prior. We don't know, for example, if dad has said, look, girls, I never want to see you twerking. You see all that foolishness out there, I never want to see it. Like, we don't know if that's happened before. Versus if this is like, or if this is like the 3rd time he's caught them doing this. You feel me? And he's just frustrated. Like, it's like, look, what is it going to take for you? At the same time, it could be the very first time they see it. Like, for example, if you saw your daughter in bed with another kid naked, Like, you don't need to have ever like caught them once before to then be like, I will never do it again. You will go off right there.
I will give him the Liu Kang bicycle kicks.
You understand? Yeah.
I will give him them kicks.
But that's the thing though. It's like your thing just goes off in your head where it's just like, no, this ends right now in like straight to the point.
Very
No,
true.
it's not.
Very true.
So that's why I'm saying I'm not mad at it. Now, I guess, of course, to the extent it went to, maybe went just a tad too far. Because I know, the screens were blood curdling.
Yeah, they were blood curdling, bro.
But at the same time, bro, little girl screaming loud, You know what I mean?
But it's the type of scream.
Yeah, I hear
it was
that.
a type of scream. It was like someone lashing the soul out of you, like Satan taking your soul. Like, no!
Yeah. So
they will never dance again, fam. They will never twerk again.
Why you gotta hit me with the belt? I never dance.
It's got traumas. I'm not dancing with guys.
Trust me, they'd be like, hey, Travell, hey, Chantel, we need you to win the dance competition. It's like, nah, I'd never do it anymore.
No. My dad's in the so can't do it.
Flashbacks. When she wants to pop, she'd be like, they'd be like, what's going on? Why are you screaming, boy?
My dad's in the audience. My dad's in the audience. Wow. And also, here's another thing I want to say as well. Quickly before we end.
Yeah.
If people are beaten, honestly, I think mum should do it more than dad.
You think so?
Because dad tends to be out of anger. You know what I mean? Like mums, they always have that like maternal connection to their kids.
I would disagree because I've seen women be out of anger and it's mad. I've seen some women, like from my friends, remote control, just draw for it like, I don't know, like a blade from a sock and just be
I take back what I said.
They be throwing stuff.
Women use objects, but they are so quick
God.
for it to reach for an
But
object.
the next thing that they get booked, it doesn't matter. And the thing is, one of the things, like you said, the precision. Oh my God, the precision is disgusting.
Yeah, man, they get a critical hit with that one
Oh,
right there.
you've all had the wooden spoon on the hand. I don't know. Have you had the wooden spoon on your hand?
Nope.
Never had the wooden.
I had belt and the balloon holder.
I had the wooden
and
spoon
slipper.
on the hand and the foot. Yeah. When on the foot, I crawled. That was something else.
Yo.
Some people say that sound like some punishment. It was, but it's made my foot stronger than any kind of adamantium that existed. But that hand, we like, pat. Now, for any of you that are listening to it, they've hit me one spot on my hand. Then they'll keep the spoon and like tease you. They'll be like, I'm gonna hit you. Oh, no. Then they'll rub the hand, like they'll rub the wood against the hand, and you're feeling the pain. And that's a different level. It's not just the beating, it's like the psychological thing. Mm-hmm. And they'll be like, don't move your hand, and they'll pretend to hit you, and you'll move your hand, and you're like, all right, that's two more.
Yeah, because you bring your hand down.
Yeah. And bruv, that's a level of beating that's different.
You never had this stuff.
Not that, bro.
Bro, this African beatings, bro.
I messed up psychologically. That's crazy.
This is African beatings.
Bro. Because they did that with the balloon holder. You know what I mean? They hold it there, and they're telling you off and stuff like that. And they lift it up like that. They come down and you want to bring your hand down and like keep your hand there. Put your hand there. Put your hand there.
And they hit the same spot.
Yeah. And they'll hold it. And they'll hold it right in the same spot and
they'll leave it there. That so you can feel you've been hit and the pain is reverberating, but they leave the material there.
Yeah.
And there's something about that that's interesting. You know, we might have to dig a little later on another episode or something, maybe as a side step. There's something about the psychology of that that's almost, you know what, even as we speak about it, I'm thinking, is it terrible for parents to do this? It's almost like an element of torture. Because you know what's coming, but they're not getting it over and done with, and it's just it's to prove a point. Like, this is what happens to you when you don't follow the rules. So there's your pain, but the thing is still there, and I'm gonna hit you again, but only on my terms. And you're like, oh shit. That lets you know that if you don't behave, the punishment that is dealt to you is not gonna be on your terms. Which is a really deep psychological way to teach a kid through physical way as well.
It's a bit mad. But we're going to have to investigate it another time because, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for in the video. So, we want you to weigh in, okay? Will you beat your kids? Will you not beat your kids? Have you been beaten before? Do you advocate beating? Do you not?
And what do you suggest as well? Like, what do you suggest about how do you deal with kids as well?
Alternate ways of punishment as well, all right? So all of that stuff, please comment it down below in the YouTube as well as on SoundCloud. You can find us on Instagram at Forbidden Juice Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Forbidden_Juice. You can also find all of the hosts on their various social medias as well. So for myself, it's your boy AD on both Twitter and Facebook. You can also follow me at itsyourboy.ad on Instagram as well.
Awesome stuff. And I'm Truefunktion, so it's Truefunktion. FUNKTION. Literally, you'll find our names as well on the blog or the blurb of our podcast Instagram page. But if you search Truefunktion, you'll find me on all social media platforms and SoundCloud, etc.
Yeah, you can catch me on Instagram, Emperor Black Lion.
Yep. And one more time as well, please check out the clothing line that our boy Truefunktion has.
Creative Native.
Creative Native
Yeah.
on Depop. The name of the app is Depop, DEPOP. All right, you can get the clothes for very, very cheap as well. Not to mention as well that the
You can
shipping
also-
is nice and cheap as well.
Nice and cheap. And also, just to quickly say as well, I am open to negotiating deals. You can message me through the app because there is a possibility to bargain and stuff. If you're buying a certain amount, just talk to me and I'm more than open to talk to you as well. I do have an Instagram page which I need to work on, so it's still the same. It's at Creative Native, so Creative Native, one word. And yeah, have a check and let me know how you feel. It's summertime. Get your African on. Afrobeats is a thing. It's popping, so get with the culture, peeps.
Wow.
And so yeah, next week, people, plaque on your tongue, are you cancelled?
Yes! I give it to you. That's a good one. All right.
Hey,
You saved yourself.
trust me.